I work in the social service field, and we just got an update on the Medicaid and SNAP changes. And boy, start with SNAP because I may have to make this in two parts. So as you know, the big beautiful bill is now a law. So this is what will be happening over the next 3 years, basically. As you know, SNAP was cut by 20%, which is the largest cut in the history of SNAP. A lot of people are going to be at risk of losing their benefits, unfortunately. So if you receive SNAP, you want to pay attention to this. So bottom line is that they are expanding work requirements. So people up to age 65 now are going to be required to work to be able to get their SNAP benefits. It was 54 before, they raised it to age 65. Also includes parents of kids that are older than 14. It used to be 18, they just reduced it to 14. So if you are a parent that is receiving SNAP for your family and you have a child that is over 14, you will now be required to work some of that time to receive those SNAP benefits. And while it adds exemptions for work requirements for American Indians and Alaska Natives, it eliminates exemptions for veterans, for people who are experiencing homelessness, and for foster youth. So now veterans, people who are experiencing homelessness, and foster youth that are of working age will now be required to work to receive their SNAP benefits. Also restricts the states, the individual states' ability to waive those work requirements in areas that have high unemployment rates or limited work. So even if you're living in an area that literally has no work for you to do or to get, you still have to somehow meet those work requirements because now states can't waive that for you anymore. Switching the burden from the federal government to states. So it will increase the burden on the states' budgets by shifting costs from the federal government to the states. It eliminates benefits for most people who are not U.S. citizens, and it limits future updates based on evolving dietary restrictions and food costs to Thrifty Food Plan, which is used to determine the maximum SNAP benefits allowed, thereby restricting overall SNAP benefit levels, meaning that they can't raise it as much as they normally did with the rise of food costs. And yeah, I think I'll do a second part for Medicaid, but at the end, I'll put a screenshot of what they gave us.
What are the current SNAP benefits looking like for 2025? Let's get into it. So SNAP has two work requirements, general work requirements and the able-bodied adult without dependent requirement. Okay, so let's talk about what this is going to look like. And this is going to be state by state too. It's going to vary. That's what I heard. But anyway, to keep your SNAP benefits, you are going to need to show that you are actively working and looking for work, meaning you're going to have to keep a job diary. You're going to have to, if you even have volunteer work and you don't get paid for it, you're working, okay? They want to see that. If you're volunteering, you will still be eligible for your SNAP. Keep working at least 30 hours per week and don't quit or cut down your hours because that will affect your SNAP requirements as well. All right, let's get into quickly the able-bodied adult without a dependent. Between ages 18 and 64 range has changed. But okay, you need to meet additional work requirements to get SNAP for no longer than 3 months or over 3 years. You can meet requirements by working at least 80 hours a month, participating in a work program for at least 80 hours a month, or doing both for a total of at least 80 hours a month. This doesn't have to be for a paycheck. It can be unpaid volunteer work or work done in exchange for something other than money. Strange things for some change, might we say. Let's get into who is exempt from the work requirements. So unable to work due to a physical and mental disability, pregnant, have dependents, or live with someone under 14 who is a part of your household. So if you have a child and they're under 14, you are exempt from this requirement. However, if your child's over 14, you are not exempt from this requirement. If you live in high unemployment rates where SNAP work requirements have been waived, you are exempt from this requirement. So let's get into how did SNAP requirements change under the big beautiful bill. Adults between 55 and 64. So before it was you were waived. You didn't have to, any adult 55 didn't have to worry about this, but now they just pushed it to 64. Do you believe that? 64 years old. Parents with older children. That's how it got changed too, okay? Veterans now are required, and people in areas with high unemployment also now are required. Prior to that, they would exempt you, but now that's not working. Everybody has to work. They don't care if there's 4 jobs in your area. You have to try to get it, or you have to volunteer. That's just what it is. Again, they're going to sit down on September 30th, and they're going to have everything in place. So I don't know what this is going to look like for New York City, but that's insane. 64 and you got to go to work in order to eat. That's some shit.
So I need everybody to hear this, including Trump supporters, because this has nothing to do with whether I'm a Democrat or you're a Republican. What's happening right now affects every single one of us. I'm going to talk about 2 different bills that were just slipped into the House budget bill, okay? Affects every one of us. The first one are the SNAP benefit cuts. I made a video about a year ago because I've studied extensively Project 2025. I've studied extensively how people are being brainwashed to buy into Project 2025 by people like Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro, okay? So in the SNAP benefits, they're cutting it. They're cutting SNAP benefits by $120 billion over a decade. Now, here's how they're cutting it. You're only permitted to apply for SNAP benefits until your child turns 7 years old. That's a second grader. I want everybody to just walk into a second grade classroom. Now, there are so many reasons why somebody might need SNAP benefits to get them by. One of the most important ones is because you're a single parent, or maybe you're even grandparents. The parents are out of the picture and you're living on, retirement benefits. It could be any number of reasons. And these children, we have hungry children right now, even with the current SNAP benefit system. We have hungry children. And we don't have all that many high-paying jobs. We have a lot of manual labor, low wage, no benefit jobs. Well, these Republicans are cutting SNAP benefits, but they're giving 2 exclusions, okay? The first exclusion, if you're married and your child turns 7, you can continue to get SNAP benefits. And then they're upping the work requirements, except with the exception, if you're married, the new work requirements do not apply. Why is this important? When you read Project 2025, the goal is to turn this into a Christian nation under a patriarchy. It's their goal. There's over 35 people at high-level administration with Donald Trump that were architects, that are part of Project 2025 and making it happen. And in Project 2025, it forces women to get married at a very young age and start bearing children. So this is integrated into this new bill. It makes it very hard to be a single mother and to remain single. It forces you into a marriage you probably don't want. And Trump supporters, you've got single mothers in your households. I know that you do. This is why Charlie Kirk is so dangerous. College campuses everywhere. He integrates into every single debate how women should just graduate from high school and get married right away and start having.
Do not starve in silence. I'm a single dad with 2 sons, and we split a duplex with a roommate, so all 3 of us live in the same room. I'm working my ass off all the time. One of my sons has a heart defect. They both have asthma. Their mother is currently losing a battle with alcohol and drug addiction, and I miss her every day. I'm not gonna make it under normal circumstances, but I will promise you we will not starve.
Since so many people love to bash poor people or people they perceive to be poor that need help getting food benefits, like the people that receive SNAP EBT benefits, I've read and seen so many comments about people, talking about taking the crab legs. I'm like, what about somebody else being able to buy something that you can afford? And a lot of people love to say, because it's my dollars paying for it, y'all act like a lot of these people don't work. Most of the people that receive SNAP benefits work, y'all. So the fact that y'all think that they don't, it's always, or just assume that they don't. But for me, it's an even deeper thing than that. Like, people are so happy that all of these things aren't able to be bought. How do y'all think that that's going to affect the groceries later on? Yes, a lot of people that receive SNAP benefits are the ones that buy a lot of the junk food, sodas, things like that. I even saw a video where they were taking off juices, stuff like that. I guess anything with sugar, I guess, because I've seen that even 5 more states have, added on to joining the list of the food restrictions and things like that. But how do you think it's going to impact the companies, the grocery stores that you shop in, the grocery stores that you work at, or maybe deliver to, being trucked? Like I told y'all, these things can cut people. Y'all used to be on here saying and be so happy. If seeing the effects of the way that Trump has handled the immigrants in this country hasn't taught you anything, and you've been to see how it's impacted our economy already in the U.S., then I don't think that y'all are paying attention enough. So many people are so caught up in being hate fuel toward individuals and spewing your racism that you don't think about the deeper connotations of how it really truly affects our economy for the long haul, because you're just thinking about the right now, and you're getting your kicks and your laughs and your giggles talking about that they're happy about it and people gonna lose weight, with all your judgmental, not knowing how people utilize these things for the good, or what some people that need these type of things in order to be able, whether they're diabetic, whether you guys have kids, have the right to be able to enjoy some things. Sometimes that's the only way that parents or loved ones or people are able to afford, like, birthday time, like, cakes and cookies and cupcakes and sweets, candies and stuff like that for their kids, if they did not have these type of benefits. So think about that sometimes, y'all, before y'all opt to use your strength, or your vocal strength, or your finger tapping strength to write something defamatory about somebody, and being happy that they're being restricted now on something that's definitely going to be problematic for more than just them.